The episode one-course meal is easily one of the most disturbing SpongeBob episodes ever made. But it's not the only one. Watch until the end and see for yourself just how dark a cartoon can actually become. The episode starts with Plankton, once again trying to steal the secret formula. And this time, he almost succeeds. That is, until Pearl shows up. Plankton is terrified of Pearl because whales eat plankton, something he's fully aware of. So he runs back to the chum bucket in complete panic, which immediately gives Mr. Krabs an idea. Later, Plankton is taking out the trash when Pearl suddenly appears inside the dumpster. Without hesitation, he sprints back inside and seals the door shut. He hides in his lab, completely shaken. Just when he thinks he's safe, Pearl appears again. And she makes it clear she isn't there to talk. He runs away. Panicked, he grabs Karen, but by the time he returns, Pearl is gone. And Karen thinks he's laying. This cycle continues for 2 weeks. The constant fear begins to destroy Plankton, mentally and physically. He refuses to leave his room, not even to eat, because he's terrified of being seen. He isolates himself, crying alone in the dark, while Pearl seems to enjoy his suffering. His fear even invades his dreams, torturing him. In his dream, he's running away from Pearl. Earlier in the episode, Plankton mentioned that his ancestors were eaten by a whale, which explains why this terror runs so deep. Anyway, in one nightmare, he's running down a hallway while being chased by Pearl. There's no escape. She swallows him whole. Inside her stomach, he sees his ancestors. Slowly, his lower half dissolves in stomach acid. He wakes up, but instead of feeling relieved, he completely breaks down. He can't live like this anymore. Then comes the reveal. It wasn't Pearl at all. For 16 days, Mr. Krabs had been dressing up as her just to torment Plankton. As I said before, this fear completely destroyed him. Knowing he can't handle it anymore, Plankton walks into the middle of the road. If it wasn't obvious, he's trying to end his life. SpongeBob stops him and explains that everyone is afraid of something, even Mr. Krabs. He even tells him that it was Mr. Crab the one dressing like Pearl to scare him, which inspires Plankton to get revenge. Plankton walks into Krusty Krab traps. Mr. Krabs, with his biggest fear, mimes. But just as he's enjoying his victory, a real group of whales appear, sending him into hiding once again. This episode really highlights the toxic relationship between Mr. Krabs and Plankton. Usually Plankton is the villain, but here, Mr. Krabs shows no compassion. He gains nothing from this. He did it simply because he could. He tortured Plankton for weeks and left him to die, and even laughed about it. That might be the most evil thing Mr. Krabs has ever done. Next episode is Are You Happy Now? The episode begins with SpongeBob laughing while reading a book. Squidward gets annoyed and takes it from him, only to realize it's just the Krusty Krab work schedule. Which didn't make sense to him. Then SpongeBob explains it's his happy book, because all his happiest memories happened there. He then asks Squidward what his happiest memory is. After thinking for a while, Squidward realizes he doesn't have one. At first, he shrugs it off and returns to work. But SpongeBob can't accept that. He keeps questioning how someone could live without a happiest memory. The thought lingers in Squidward's mind until he begins to cry, and SpongeBob cries with him. Determined to fix this, SpongeBob decides to help him find his happiest memory. So he takes Squidward on multiple outings. First, he takes him to a concert. At first, Squidward was enjoying the show until he got hit in the eye by a violin bow. Next, they went to an art museum. At first, Squidward was disappointed, until he sees one of his statues and briefly feels joy seeing his work admired, only for it to be destroyed, which makes him start to lose hope. But that doesn't stop SpongeBob. Next, they went on a hot air balloon ride, which turns into chaos when it's revealed Squidward is afraid of heights, and he started to freak out. SpongeBob tries to solve the problem by popping the balloons, which only makes things worse. But they still manage to land safely on Mount Bikini. For SpongeBob, this was a potential happiest moment since they were the first to ever land on the mountain. But at this point, Squidward doesn't even care. Unfortunately, SpongeBob accidentally plants the flag which was handed to them by another guy in Squidward's foot, which led to an avalanche. Squidward looks completely defeated. Unlike before, he doesn't even cry, he just looks empty. This is where the episode takes a darker turn. We see Squidward withdrawn and clearly depressed. SpongeBob keeps trying to reach him, unaware of how deep this has gone, in regards to his environment and mental health. Finally, SpongeBob gets a hold of Squidward against his will, and tries one last time to give him his happiest memory, so he throws a party in Squidward's honor. But no one shows up, so he creates papier-mâché versions of himself to fill the room. When Squidward looks around, all he sees is SpongeBob. Over and over again. The face that pushed him into this emotional spiral, and he can't take it anymore. He snaps, violently tearing the figures apart, and the episode just ends. Which is confusing because Squidward hardly did anything that was morally wrong. This episode deals heavily with depression and hopelessness, showing how repeated failure can completely wear someone down. No happy resolution, no lesson, just emotional breakdown. And possibly the darkest episode of all is Graveyard Shift. It starts with Squidward closing the Krusty Krab, when all of a sudden a customer shows up. So Squidward tries to kick the customer by telling him they were already closed. That was until the customer said, "He have money," which of course alerts Mr. Krab, who then decides to leave the Krusty Krab open late for extra profit, leaving SpongeBob and Squidward alone at night. Squidward was obviously devastated by this. Unlike SpongeBob, who got really excited and started to sing and dance around, Squidward had enough of it. And to entertain himself, Squidward tells SpongeBob a horror story about the hash-slinging slasher, a former fry cook who lost his arm in an accident, then replaced it with a spatula, and survived. But one day he was crossing the street and got hit by a bus and died tragically. And now he returns to the Krusty Krab every Tuesday night on the same bus that killed him to seek revenge. There are 3 warning signs. The lights flicker. The phone rings with no one on the line. Then he will slowly cross the street and knocks on the door 3 times. Then he'll open the door and creep inside slowly, and then he'll get you. At first, it looked like it was just a made-up story by Squidward to entertain himself, and he went back to normal. But not long after, he started to feel scared, and the creepy environment around him is not helping. Then he started to complain about how stupid this is. No one wants to eat a Krabby Patty in the middle of the night. But then, all of a sudden, the light starts to flicker on its own. The phone rings. He picks up, but no one answers. He starts to freak out. Then a bus pulls up, even though buses don't run that late. A shadowy figure steps out with a spatula for a hand. Squidward starts to scream in complete horror, followed by SpongeBob. After they realized it was the slasher, he walks to the door and knocks 3 times. And walks in slowly. SpongeBob and Squidward are convinced this is the end. They hide and wait for whatever is coming. But in the final twist, the slasher turns out to be a harmless kid looking for a job. The episode ends on a lighter note, but for most of it, the tension is real. There you have it, the 3 darkest SpongeBob episodes. If you want another part, don't forget to like and subscribe and leave your suggestion down below. See you next time.